Hey ya bro, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Snow White F32 channel. Look at the gang over there.
Yeah. Always the German cars on the lift.
Always German cars in the lift. So today we're gonna do the part 2 of the brake job. We're gonna do the rear brakes. I know you guys watched the first video, was the front brakes. It's a very similar process. I'm still gonna walk you guys through it, just because there might be some differences, which we will cover. And yeah, you guys already know the brakes that I use the Geo Carbon R1 Concept drilled and slotted rotors, and I use the Performance Sports Kit pads from R1 Concepts as well. So without further ado, we're gonna get straight to it. Let's do it. Alright, so first we're gonna use our 17mm, take our wheel off. This is the OEM lug bolts for the BMW. Then we're gonna get our screwdriver or anything to go here. We're gonna pop it and take the clip off, and you're gonna pop out. Alright, so a very similar story here. We have the brake pads caliper on top, as you guys can see, one here and one here. We're gonna take these off and pop this off. And in there is going to be an Allen key. So as you saw in the last video, I used an HW socket. I don't have access to these sockets right now, but I do have access to Allen keys, as I told you before. You can also use an Allen key for it. I'm using a 5/16 inch Allen key, and that should work. And we're gonna do the same thing in the top. Alright guys, so you should take it out up until over here. You should have a gap. If you see here, the bolt is still visible in the side, in the middle, I'm sorry, right here. So what I do is I'll get a flathead and I'll insert it inside, and I'll put it in the threads, and I'll push the bolt out. So you guys saw how I pushed it out of the way. Now there's nothing in the middle. Now we can start wiggling. You see, this is already coming out. Alright, so once the bolts are out, we can wiggle our way out. Should be easy. Take one pad out. After that, we're gonna take out, there's one bolt right here and the other is up here. If you remember, in the front it was a hex, it was like a star type of bolt. When I got the bolts from BMW, they gave me the same ones as the front, so hopefully it is the same hardware as the front. If not, then I'm gonna be reusing these ones. So these are gonna be 16mm socket. If you guys remember, in the front they were like 30 something or 40 something pounds of torque, so it shouldn't be hard to take out. If you use a breaker bolt or a ratchet, you should be able to take it out by hand. But let's do that right now. Alright, so now that I'm looking at what BMW gave me, they are not the same one. The front one is longer, so I am going to be reusing the same ones in the back. Maybe later on I'll go to BMW and I'll get other ones, but for now I'm just going to be reusing the same ones. They don't look like they're in bad shape. I just need to clean them a little bit, and that's it. I am not going to be doing the same mistake as the front, so I'm holding this with my hand so it doesn't fall on me. Alright, and we have the caliper bracket off. Now let's take out the rotor. So just as the front with the rotor, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes for the lug bolts for the wheel, and then this one right here is to hold the rotor in place, so it makes it easier for us to do the whole job. So I just figured out I don't have an Allen key the same size. I'm going to be using a T40. It is a star, but it shouldn't be on that hard, so I shouldn't be damaging it that much. A tip, make sure your e-brake is off, because if it's on, it's not going to come off. This is how big it is, and that is the rotor. So as you guys know, I'm gonna be prepping my new rotor by flipping it and putting NECs in the middle. Just as you saw in the front video. Make sure no NECs come out here. please, because you don't want any lubrication to be between the pad and the rotor. So I put some in here, so it makes it easier for me the next time I change the brakes for this to come off and I put the new one. Alright, so this rotor is for the other side. One tip that I didn't mention in the first video is that with the drilled and slotted rotors, you always have to look at these slots itself. They should not be looking forward towards the front of the car. They should be looking to the rear of the car. So this is gonna be for the driver's side. So I'm gonna continue working over there since I already prepped this one. Alright guys, so the only difference will be in the brake sensor. So the brake sensor in the front is in a different spot. And the rear is gonna be, this is the brakes, right? If you go here, you're gonna take out this 10mm right here. And it's gonna be behind it. And it's the same thing. You're gonna pop these open. You can pop these open and you're gonna see it right here. It is gonna be the white one. The black one is gonna be your ABS. The white one is gonna be your brake sensor. But let's hop to the other side since we prepped the wrong rotor. So now we are on the other side, on the driver's side. It is the same exact process. So what I need to do is I need to prep the hub itself. I'm gonna get a wire brush and I'm gonna brush all the rust out so I can put the new rotor in cleanly. After I finish wire brushing it, we're gonna make sure that the little rotor pin, or whatever you're gonna call it, is on the correct hole. Okay, so if this goes in, make sure that all the holes are visible and all of them are good, and they should be fine. If any of them are moved a little bit, just take this off, fix it, and tighten it back on. So now that the rotor is on, we're going to put the caliper bracket on first. Alright, we're gonna make sure both of our 16mm on for the caliper bracket. For my torque spec, I'm going to use the same torque spec as the front, which is 37 pounds of torque and then a 90-degree turn. I'm going to do a 90-degree with the breaker bar because I don't want to ruin the torque ratchet. Now, unlike the front, I actually have a compressor, a caliper compressor, so I'm going to be using it. Now that it looks like this all the way in, I'm going to be taking it off. And I'm going to be installing my new pads. Same thing as the front, we're going to compare the pads, make sure they're the same size, which they are. So the one with the pins right here is going to go in the caliper, and this part right here. And then the other side is going to be holding these pins right here. And we're going to be installing it so, all the way in. And this should fit nicely. Since this is not the same size, I'm going to be going in until it stops, and then I'm going to get my Allen key and tighten it all the way. Make sure it is lined up with the holes correctly so it goes in, because if it's not going to go in. Alright, so once it stops, I'm gonna get this out. I'm gonna get my Allen key and make sure it's tight. Now that it's tight all the way, we're gonna get our pins back. We're gonna put the caps, cap here, and cap here. Also, just like the front, make sure that this right here is sitting correctly inside. Same with the top one. And then for the last step, we're gonna install this back. We're gonna put one side first, top side over, the hook in. Then we're gonna hold the other side. We're gonna push it in, and you're gonna press on it until it goes in. And that should lock everything. You should be able to see all the pins inside correctly, like so and like so. And with that, we can install our wheel back on. Alright, now that the wheels are on, I'm gonna be torquing them to 110. Alright guys, so this is how you do your brakes. Front in part 1, rear, I just did it right now. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, make sure to leave them in the comment section below. Also make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always,